for the invocation and remain standing for the pledges of allegiance.
Let us pray. Most holy and gracious God, we thank you for this day and for the opportunity to gather in service of this great city, the city of Fort Worth, now the 11th largest city in the nation and home to over 1 million residents. We ask you for your wisdom to guide the decisions made here today. Grant each council member discernment, integrity, and courage to lead with justice, equity, and compassion for the good of all who call this city home. Bless our mayor, Maddie Parker, our city council members, and every public servant with clarity of thought and unity of purpose. Let every discussion reflect mutual respect, every policy uphold fairness, and every resolution promote the common good. May Fort Worth continue to be the place where every person is valued, every voice can be heard, and every neighborhood has the opportunity to flourish. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Council, our first action item will be the approval of the minutes from the June 3rd council meetings and the June 10th joint special called meeting with the
Got a motion and a second. Council, before we vote, though, I would like to acknowledge a special guest to my left here this evening. This is Macy Quillen. She is shadowing Council District 9, Elizabeth Beck, today. Her mother, Emily, is also here in the audience, and I just wanted to welcome Macy's actually on the city council, her student government for Southwest Christian High School. She's a rising junior, and I told her she's being well prepared to be a future city council member, so we're glad you're here today, Macy. Okay. With that, Council, we've got a motion and a second. Please vote. And motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes all of the action items.
Thank you, Jeanette. And before I call our first speaker, we are going to be up against a possible break of quorum. So I want to make sure we get to every speaker tonight. So instead of 3 minutes, we're going to do 2 minutes. And I think that will get us through the entire group of speakers out of fairness. I thank you for understanding that. So our first speaker is going to be Mindy Tackett, followed by Chris Tackett.
He's not quite here yet. He's stuck in traffic, so maybe if we could move him down the
Happy
line.
to. That's no problem.
Thank you. Also, congratulations, Dr. Hall. Fort Worth is the beating heart of Tarrant County. It's the largest city and a cultural magnet. People from around the globe visit to feel the spirit of this city, its energy, its history, and its diversity. With that distinction comes responsibility. Our city should not follow others. We should set the tone. We should lead with openness and pride, building a community that rolls out the welcome mat to all, residents and newcomers of every race, faith, ability, and orientation. But it's clear we are being pulled off course. We've seen extremist forces embed themselves at the county level. Tim O'Hare, Matt Krause, Manny Ramirez, driven not by unity or service, but by an agenda rooted in fear, bigotry, white Christian nationalism, and marginalization. And make no mistake, if allowed to succeed, they won't stop here. Fort Worth should never be known for bigotry, white Christian nationalism, or marginalizing people. We should be known for courage, compassion, and unity. As Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. That is wisdom that I've always lived by and wisdom that you can take to the bank. When people hear Fort Worth, they shouldn't have to guess about our character or what we stand for. We need leaders that can be counted on. Please do not let the zealotry in this county drag us backward. Thank you.
We'll come back to Mr. Tackett. Our next speaker is Chris Wood, followed by Kim Shimato.
I'm Chris Wood from District 6. Sexual assault is the most underreported crime. 2/3 of all sexual assaults are not reported to police. There are many reasons for this. As someone who was sexually assaulted, I can attest to the validity of the causes for this unfortunate silence. One reason is victims fear they may face skepticism. After my responding officer found out I had a mental illness, he shut his notebook. Another reason for underreporting is worry about facing judgment. I rarely talk about my assault because I feel embarrassed. An additional reason for silence is the scare of retaliation. My perpetrator pulled a gun on me and he knew where I lived. Another barrier to reporting is mistrust of the justice system. Conviction rates for rape are low. I have a friend that had no faith in the justice system, so she took matters into her own hands. She decided to stop her perpetrator's bad behavior herself. While she was effective, do we really want victims handling perpetrators' repercussions? A further reason for lack of reporting is victims often feel shame, guilt, and self-blame. I ask myself, how did I let this happen? I'm strong and tough, yet this happened to me. One of the impacts of this silence is inadequate allocation of resources. Also, perpetrators often re-offend. Furthermore, harmful norms such as victim blaming and gender inequality are solidified. Strategies to combat this quiescence include promotion of education and awareness. School, workplaces, and media outlets can help dismantle stigma. The justice system could also provide legal support to survivors. Finally, safe reporting mechanisms such as anonymous reporting that includes digital platforms and apps can be created. Please help foster awareness, reform institutions, amplify survivor voices, and work towards a future where justice is accessible to all. Thank you.
Ken Shamato, sorry, Ken, cut off, followed by Bob Willoughby.
Good evening, Mayor Parker, council members. I'd like to start off by saying congratulations to Dr. Hall, and thanks to all of you for your Pride Declaration last week, which was much needed and timely. I'd also like to thank council members Nettles, Beck, and Hall for joining us in the park yet on Saturday in the peaceful expression of our First Amendment rights. When I first signed up to speak today, I was quite incensed about ICE on the south side targeting brown men in work trucks. I am descended from folks who came from a long way. My grandparents all came from Japan to Hawaii early in the 20th century. My parents met in New York in the 50s. I came here to make my life in the 70s. Every American family that is not indigenous or did not come here in chains has a story just like that. Attacks on our hardworking neighbors insult the memory of our ancestors' American dreams, the idea that America could embrace us and give us a chance to build our futures here. The greatness of this city comes from the multiplicity of cultures we represent here. My challenge to the progressive majority and to the whole council is act, vote, and govern like one. Let's build a city marked by trust between police and the community in the name of a Tatiana Jefferson, where everyone's voice is heard in the name of Miss Opal Lee, where young creatives want to live and work in the name of Gilbert Baxter, who trained world-class musicians at I.M. Terrell High School. We are better together. Apart, we're just frightened people hiding behind closed doors. Let's do better, Fort Worth.
Our next speaker is Bob Willoughby. Mr. Willoughby will be followed by Sabrina Ball.
This girl here works for community engagement, and she's getting $70,000 a year, and this is the one.
Sustained. You can take that down. We're not going to pick on individual city employees. Continue your speech, Bob. Thank you.
Okay. It says here in the city of Fort Worth, Texas, the rules. The public has the right to criticize policies, procedures, programs, or services of the city, or the actions or mission of the city council or city staff. Now, what is she? She's city staff, and she's not doing her job. So you protect these people. You've got to be the, you know what? I'm glad you're back in here again. I don't have to change the decals on my car. It says Mayor Parker, two-faced liar. Now we're going to add underneath it that that's no lie. There's nothing you can do about that. Here, let's go with the other one. Here. The people have a right to a public meeting and it's open. I was denied those rights by Maddie Parker. She removed me for 3 months from this city hall without no reason. She just breaks the rules, just like now. You're breaking the rules now. You protect crooked. Until you're changed out, we don't have a city. We have a dictator, is what we have. A communist dictator, 100% communist. Charles, you're no different. You don't stand up for free speech, and any of y'all that are here from the military, you're traitors. You let free speech be taken away from here, and you don't say a word. Don't tell me you're American. You can't be. Our rights here have been taken away. That's why we don't have a full meeting tonight and cut it down to 2 minutes. That's unbelievable. You have got to be the worst person. This used to be a whole council meeting all night, and you cut it down to this. And then you cut it down to 2 minutes. You're the most dirtiest person I've ever met. You've got to be, oh man, I'll tell you. But anyway, Mayor, that's okay. It's good enough for my video. And Choppa, I'll catch you afterwards.
Sabrina Ball will be our next speaker. Just want to remind Mr. Willoughby, you're speaking to a Purple Heart recipient in Charlie Larsdorf. So I think you're a little off base about who understands the First Amendment and being a hero in America. Sabrina Ball will be followed by E.J. Carrion. Is Miss Ball here? E.J., you'll be up next, followed by Reed Bills. I know Mrs. Reed is here. E.J., you can come on up.
All right, so since we don't have 3 minutes and we're pulling a Judge Tim O'Hare, I got to cut a lot of it. I'll just go straight to you, Mayor Parker. I started a podcast roughly the same time you became a mayor. You came on my podcasts. I talked really highly about you. I said, this is a person who can fight the MAGA extremism that took over a party. And I even said maybe one day become the president of the United States. I said these things on my podcasts about you. And unfortunately, what I see is that last week you showed up. You're really great when people are watching. Why I show up now in City Hall after 5 years just talking about progressive values is because I feel like I now have to speak up. Because people are seeking leadership when extremism is seeping into their communities like Oakhurst. People are seeking leadership when bullies are silencing their voices with racial gerrymandering or canceling LGBTQ history markers. People are seeking leadership when they feel like exploitation has ruined their community and they're asking for justice, like Echo Heights, who've been silenced and shushed because we decided, just like today, go down 2 minutes, we decided that when they sign up for public comments, it doesn't matter. I understand what you're going through is really, really hard as a Republican mayor managing a high-growing city that is blue with 1 million people, with majority minority, with a council that is majority Democrat. I can't imagine how hard that is. But you need to stop being afraid of the far right Texas GOP and stop having fear and start leading off of fact. And the fact is that this is a blue city. And I don't know how you manage that, but I'm speaking up because I have the privilege to speak up to allow people to realize that it's time to wake up, that we are a big blue city with blue values, with progressives. Since 2018, we voted governor, Senate, the president for the Democrat. So you 6, be transformational.
Our next speaker will be Reed Bills. I think Miss Ball just came in, so I'll call back on her and then to Charles Bills.
I speak regularly at Commissioners Court, reminding the commissioners of their obligations to the taxpayers of Tarrant County. During the last 3 years, the court, under Judge O'Hare's lead, has become increasingly political and regressive in their rulings. These rulings have been possible because there is a Republican majority on the court. Until the May election, the City Council also had a majority of conservative votes. And this has caused some decisions that have not been in the best interest of the city. Now, with a progressive majority, you have the opportunity to make sound decisions for all your constituents, and it is my hope that you will consistently do so.
Sabrina Ball, followed by Charles Bills.
big thanks to Fort Worth PD for a safe march this weekend. Today, STAR scores were released and Fort Worth ISD showed gains. What we can't see, though, is how our local charter schools compare. I understand many of you support charters. And while I'm a Fort Worth ISD parent, I don't judge any family for choosing one. You do what you have to do for your kids. But what many don't realize is how charters operate, how they impact public schools, and how they really perform. With a new charter application going before the State Board of Education next week, right in a zip code with several school closures, 76103, now is the time to look at facts. Between 2020 and 2024, Fort Worth ISD lost almost $635 million and over 15,000 students to charters. Even if there's no charter in your area, they affect every public school student by draining resources, leading to closures, program cuts, and staff losses. Meanwhile, we scrutinize every dollar Fort Worth ISD spends, while charters use our tax dollars with little transparency, including for facilities and capital projects. Fort Worth ISD has to ask voters for upgrades. Charters get a flat percentage with no voter oversight. Of 19 new charter schools opened over the last 7 years, 18 failed to meet enrollment projections, some by 75%. That's not a good return on public investment. 81% of the new charters that opened in the last 6 years scored below the average of public school districts on the 2024 STAR. The most recent comparison between charters and Fort Worth ISD was a mixed bag. Charters had more extreme swings, bigger highs, deeper lows. Why is that? Charters can exclude students from enrolling or expels others easily, especially those with greater needs. They also serve fewer special ed students. So I'm asking you, when you publicly criticize Fort Worth ISD, ask yourself, what do they really have to work with? Have we given them the tools
Thank
to
you, Ms.
succeed?
Ball. Our next speaker is Charles Bills, followed by Eddie Delgado. And I think Mr. Tackett came in. Is that right? Yes. Okay, he'll be after Eddie Delgado. Thank you.
First, I want to congratulate Ms. Peoples and Ms. Hall that are new council members. And I'm excited that you are part of the new progressive majority that other speakers have mentioned. And I hope that you definitely introduce some things. First is to move this public speaking to be part of the regular council meeting. You know, having this separate dilutes our power as a voice, a public voice. And also, I hope you introduce legislation to bring back a citizens review board over the police. Thank you.
Mr. Delgado, followed by Chris Tackett. Mr. Delgado here. Chris, you're up next, followed by Jim DeLong.
All right, here we go. When Tim, Matt, and Mandy decided to racially gerrymander Tarrant County precinct lines, they did it to divide us, to dilute voices, and secure power through manipulation, not merit. But Fort Worth doesn't have to play by their rules. Tarrant County drew the lines, but Fort Worth will map the future. And that future should be bold, inclusive, and unapologetically progressive. It's been very confusing watching our mayor recently. When members of the city council brought forward the resolution standing against gerrymandering, an act of conscience for democracy, the mayor couldn't get on board. She did sign on to the letter with the other mayors 3 days later, but then when there was an opportunity to actually show up and speak at court against it, did not show up on June 3rd. That's not leading, that's at best following, and it isn't meeting the moment we're in. Real leadership doesn't wait for permission, it sets the tone. And look, maybe that's what we were doing with the Pride Proclamation, which was fabulous, but we should have seen it a year ago as well. Leaders garner trust, and right now, we can't be sure which way the mayor is going to go. What's going to be enough to step up, and when are we going to let extremism have free rein? We do have 6 members on the council whose actions say they want a better, fairer Fort Worth. Well, you don't have to wait for others to get on board. Power isn't drawn, it's claimed. You have the votes, you have the responsibility, and you have the people behind you. Because realistically, understand, we aren't alone in this fight and you aren't either. We have friends everywhere, in every district, in every neighborhood, in every language spoken in this city. There are people ready for change who are tired of the compromise inherent in the Fort Worth way. That's what keeps the status quo in power. So it's time. Use your voice, use your vote.
Mr.
and
DeLong, you're up next. Thank you, Mr. Tackett. Mr. DeLong will follow by Adrian Smith.
Good evening. I'm Jim DeLong, and tonight I'm talking about situational ethics. This month finishes my 8th year of coming to city council meetings. Boy, have I ever seen a lot. And the first time I spoke was on situational ethics. It was right after the Las Vegas shooting, and that was a tragedy. That was god awful. But to that shooter, he was right and could justify his actions. And just because he felt he was right to the core of his being, and he felt that he could justify his actions, does not make his actions right. And we're seeing this across our country every day. The world and our city would be a better place if we lived according to a universal proverb that goes something like this: treat others like you would like to be treated. Don't treat others how you've been treated or mistreated. That doesn't get us anywhere. That causes division and strife between us. If we treated people like we would like to be treated, our city, our state, our nation would be a better place. If we as the people of Fort Worth lived by this, hate, anger, killing, stealing, and destroying would be greatly reduced. Taking its place would be peace, safety, and the chance to see dreams fulfilled. So I encourage you, our city leaders, make a decision. Treat others like you would like to be treated, more than maybe you are today. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Adrian Smith, followed by Gerald Banks Sr.
Adrian Smith, I am one with the people. Hey, Mayor, I'm really trying to see if you're gonna break quorum. I want to call your bluff. So, also, I'm asking you to restore remote speaking. When are you going to restore remote speaking? Fort Worth Star Telegram, Fort Worth Report, your silence isn't helping the issue. So, Mr. Lorsdorf, you stated earlier during a council work session 2 years ago when you had a desire for a total ban on donation boxes that they were protected under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. You had to learn this. However, you labeled them as illegal dumping. You also stated that business owners are the victims of these various donation boxes. Sir, I would like to state that kind of a champion, making yourself out to be a champion for business, but then I thought about nice waste management, that black-owned 20-year waste management service that was an intricate part of this city that went under because of you were one of the loudest voices against it whenever waste management made those false accusations against it. After waste management had received a $400 million contract from the city, so they should have been the ones fixing those problems. You also stated that very few nonprofits manage these boxes, but how do you know that, sir? Have you done your due diligence, or is this just a bias coming from you because you don't like these so-called donation boxes? You rather have enforcements against them rather than finding out a solution that serves all. You said they are eyesore for the community and businesses, the owners. You said the owners of these particular boxes empty them out at night and later sell the items that's inside. Sir, have you really taken the time out to speak with any of these individuals who own these boxes? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Gerald Banks Sr., followed by Peyton Jackson. Mr. Banks.
The city of Fort Worth has to make some very necessary changes, and it starts right here with you, Mayor and council persons. The admiration towards one another and the citizens of Fort Worth should be impeccable, but it's not, and it shows. Instead, you have animosity and vengeance that needs to be reconciled in order for this city to truly come together. The song by the Undisputed Truth, Smiling Faces Sometimes. Everyone should take out time to listen to it and learn to be a better person. It takes all of us to modify while being aware that respect is highly due no matter what the situation at hand is. This United States is already in chaos, but why does the great city of Fort Worth has to be the same and follow suit? We are rare and extremely better than that while the rest of the world is watching us. Let's be the example of how it's done. This is for the candidates and every citizen to pull together and make amends. If you can accomplish that, we all can win. Once again, to all candidates, take every promise that you projected from your speech to the citizens and make good of it because that's what we are expecting of you. Once again, don't backpedal now that you have the ability to make good of your word. Stand on it like your life depends on it. I'll be back to finish it.
Peyton Jackson, followed by Ann Zeta.
Good afternoon, Council. La migra está aquí. La migra está aquí, and quite frankly, there's nothing that you can do about it. Because, I mean, even God has gates around heaven. La migra está aquí. If I can speak on behalf of people like Ava Moore, Lakin Riley, Jocelyn, Ivory, Alex, Officer Lee, and so many more Americans who have died at the hands of illegal immigrants, I think they'd say the same. La migra está aquí. Because while Democrats in Tarrant County whine about maps being redrawn, they have distracted you from the fact that they have diluted your neighborhoods, like South Poly, with millions of people who cannot vote, inflating federal numbers, fixing the votes for themselves, all while flooding your already failing school districts. La migra está aquí. Because a wise woman once said the only right that you should have after breaking into this country is the right to remain silent. But some of these illegal immigrants share my skin tone, so it's not racism, and no, I'm not a xenophobe, whatever that means. I'm a patriot, one that believes in a closed border. I mean, because if I break into your house, are you gonna give me a room? No, I expect you to shoot me. Yet year after year, we have wasted millions, billions, trillions incentivizing invaders, criminals. Regardless of a civil offense, they are criminals. Immigration is not a right, but a privilege, according to Jordan. La migra está aquí, because even God has gates around heaven. Thank you, Council. Mayor Parker, whenever you're ready.
Our next speaker is Ann Zeta, followed by Lauren Cheong.
Good evening. What happened to me last time might happen again because I'm back because I ran out of time last time. Thank you all again for the Pride recognition last week. I was here a couple of weeks ago to share concerns that I hoped you all would keep in mind after the Tarrant County Commissioners Court redistricting vote, and I ran out of time, so I'm returning today to share a few things that I missed. I'm concerned that a top priority appears to be cutting spending and taxes without regard to the full consequences, as well as an unwillingness to see the value of services that some of you don't see as directly fulfilling the personal needs or deem partisan. Not only do council leaders need to consider their own districts, they need to consider the larger city and county. They need to consider the entire region on issues regarding mobility and housing. We cannot let our desire to cling to our small town friendliness stop us from doing necessary planning and funding of the necessities for a successful world-class city. For years, Fort Worth leaders have lamented that we don't want to be like Dallas and that we come together and we come to consensus. And as someone who served on this council when some of my district's desires were not supported by the majority of my colleagues, I know how challenging that work can be, but it is important. Until the 2020 redistricting in the city of Fort Worth, each district had a finger of area that came into the core of the city. That ended in 2021 when the city redistricted, and already I'm hearing concerning rhetoric from council members whose districts are farther from the core of the city, lamenting that their constituents won't support things that they don't see as being directly beneficial to them personally. While each council member is absolutely responsible for considering the positions of constituents in their districts, the broader picture is also important. The entire city, the entire region are also important. And some of these decisions affect all of those things. And sometimes your job as an elected official is to educate and inform citizens about the broader impact of your decisions beyond just what they want to see or don't want to see in their backyards. As you enter this budgeting and bond season, I encourage you to expand engagement as broadly as possible. Keep the important values of collaboration and consensus front and center in mind, and ensure that the work builds for all Fort Worthians.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lauren Cheong, followed by Ernie Moran.
Hello and good evening. I'm Lauren Chong. I reside in District 9, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. I didn't prepare remarks today, but I did just want to take some time out of my day to come over and speak with you about a couple of things. I was so grateful to the Fort Worth PD for their support of the demonstrations and protests this past Saturday. Their support was really magnificent. It was truly something that was special and very necessary as well. So I really appreciated that effort as a participant in that day. I also wanted to thank you for the recognition issued for June as Pride Month. I think that's very meaningful to our city. And finally, I wanted to talk about an item of concern, which is the decommissioning of an LGBTQ historic marker. This marker has been singled out by the county commissioner for decommissioning because it didn't, and its approval apparently, in his view, didn't follow proper guidelines when it was approved. However, there haven't really been pre-approved guidelines for the approval of these historic markers. So I believe that the LGBTQ historic marker is being singled out for removal and that it's discriminatory. If not, other historic markers would be selected for removal as well, and I would never want that. I think the historic markers are very important to our city to help the community understand our history and our past. Thank you. So in the bottom line, I would love for the city council to do everything in their power to support the LGBTQ historic marker and hopefully reverse the decommissioning of it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ernie Moran, followed by Colby Knight. Is Mr. Moran here? Colby Knight? Is Colby here? No. Malik Austin? Mr. Austin's here. Mr. Austin will be followed by Alexander Montalvo if he's here.
Good evening to the mayor and council. The state of the city, mayor. Don't be hoodwinked by them scores in 4 of ISD. That didn't happen overnight. You look into the ethnic breakdown to some of those things that I know. They was given a notice 5 years ago, but I'll move on. But I ask you, mayor, stand with the party. Don't buckle. As Ms. Jackson, it's more of us to come. We stand with our children. Our children ain't hung up on this color thing or racism or anything. They play with each other every day. I look at it. I got them. So stand with your party, as I have. Progression. We got to look at a city of 1 million people. Transportation, commercial development. As you build houses, you got to have things for people to do, somewhere to go. We got 2 outstanding universities here. TCU, Texas Wesleyan, A&M is coming here. So we got to move forward. Don't look at Fort Worth in 1985, 1972, or any of these periods of time. We have to move forward. We have to develop. And I ask you again, Mayor, let's look at those things. Don't put the cart ahead of the horse. Look at the people. We all got different cultures and ideologies in these districts. So collectively, we got to work together for the best outcome of the people. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Alexander Montalvo. David Martinez. Ms. Martinez here? No. Pamela Young. Ms. Young.
Hello. Thank you for the time. I just want to echo maybe what's already been said this week, and I think the last public comment meeting. This council has an opportunity to do what's right for the people of the city of Fort Worth. No matter what district you represent, no matter who funded your campaign, no matter who consulted you, no matter what favors you owe somebody, no matter who rubbed your back or who shook your hand. This is not about blue. This is not about red. This is about the people. It's not about what you like, what you don't like, who you don't like. It's about the people doing what's best for the people. These are not your seats. They don't belong to you. They belong to us. You all represent us. And by the way, most of us didn't even vote for you. A minuscule number of people turned out to these elections every year since you all have been seated. So you work for the people, whether they voted for you or not. And that's what we're asking, and that's what we're going to hold you accountable to do what is right all the time. Thank you.
I think Mr. Montalvo got here. Alexander, if you want to speak next, and then we'll go to Mr. Smith, James Smith.
So as I'm watching online, I became aware we have 2 minutes versus 3. So it's great to know that taxpayers can pay for this building, but can't be afforded the proper time to make comments. And it's good to know that now we have Maddie O'Hare in office here in the city of Fort Worth. I'm here to echo what other Fort Worth residents have said about the opportunity that we have. There is extremism running rampant in our county and in our city, and there are 6 council members that have a chance to run the agenda and to actually do work for the people. There are the minority who may prioritize a white, rich, extremist collective in their decision making, but there's the majority that has the capacity with council members Flores, Peoples, Hall, Beck, Nettles, and Martinez to actually drive change in this city that we just celebrated 1 million people residing in. The clock is on you now. We have the next 6 months to see for the rest of this year what you're really going to do. And we're going to be watching, because if you choose not to deliver and you choose to fail the city as your colleagues seem comfortable to do, then we are going to make sure that there is representation on the city council that actually fights for the people. And lastly, Deborah, you should be mayor right now, but you're on the city council, so here's a chance to show that leadership. Thank you all.
Our next speaker is James Smith.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is James Smith. I live in District 8. I just want to say off top, it's disingenuous to the people of Fort Worth for you guys to cut their speaking time to 2 minutes. I want to say that. It's been 6 years since the murder of Tatiana Jefferson. And I'm wondering to myself, as we have new council members, because it's a totally new council since that 2019 incident, I wonder, did you or do you confer with the new council members about this incident? It's been 6 years, and I wonder, out of all the things that have happened in Fort Worth over the past almost 6 years, October, where is the accountability in this stack of things that have happened in Fort Worth? Almost 5 years ago, I'm a worldly person. I keep up with the things that are happening in Gaza and Palestine and Russia and China and Taiwan and a plethora of other things. But my number one thing is Tatiana. I was warmed by the mention of her name. I was warmed by hearing her name. It's up to you to do due diligence in this matter. There are a plethora of things in Fort Worth that I would like to talk about. And I was today, other than, Tatiana, but you cut me to 2 minutes, so what else I was going to talk about, that's out the window. We don't come back here again until August. I'm going to implore you in August, when the citizens come, we get 3 minutes. Thank you.
It's a conclusion of our Speakers Council, and I'm going to let Macy gavel us out. Here you go. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.